So, Spike, did you prepare a long time for that speech on at the
Not at
Golden
all.
Awards?
I knew I didn't want to put anything on the teleprompter. So Saturday morning, I started just making like headline, you know, points, and then just went from there. So it was not written out.
It was really strong, and it
Thank
struck
you.
me that I don't know, you couched it in terms that I thought the room could hear. That room.
Well, I'm a storyteller. So many times, not just in award ceremonies, but many times you see somebody, but you don't really know how they got there. So I wanted to use this opportunity to show, to tell how Spike Lee, a kid from Brooklyn, got to win an honorary Oscar.
And I loved the idea that you were reminding us of the strong women in your life. Now, that was something you
Yeah.
talked about in Crooklyn,
Right.
but
A
you
lot of
were
people not
really
really heard
sweet about
about
your
the,
mother and your grandmother.
yeah, not a lot of people heard the story about my grandmother, so I wanted to, get that in.
And this movie fascinates me because
Thank
you
you.
are jumping in to all kinds of stuff,
I'll be here in NRA soon.
including the strength of women.
Mhm.
But what's interesting, where did you get this connection to Liz Estrada? Where did you get this idea?
Well, it was not my ideal.
Okay.
Ideal was from Kevin Wilmot. I wrote this script, Chi-Raq, but he had written a script 6 years ago called Got to Give It Up, which is also that adaptation of Life Estrada. We tried to get it together, tried to get it made, didn't happen. And a year ago, I called Kevin up. I said, "Do you still own your script? You can sell it." He said, "No, I have it." I said, "Well, let's rewrite it together and let's make it take place on the south side of Chicago, Chi-Raq." So we went to Barton Walker, my agent, and I went to Sundance last year to try to get set up, and everybody said no except Amazon. But there was a condition. They wanted to do it, but they wanted to have a reading because the script is written in verse. So we had two readings for the executives at Amazon till they said, okay, we'll do it.
What was the thinking behind doing the script in verse?
We wanted, Kevin, we wanted to honor the Aristophanes. That play, Lysistrata, was written in script 411 BC, so I want to do the same thing.
But you were confident that it would play with.
Yes, because spoken word, rap, definitely.
And the speech that John Cusack gives is not in verse.
Right. That's the longest scene in the film. That script was written a combination between myself, Kevin, Father Michael Flager, and John Cusack. So we all got something to put that to say in that scene. And it's one of my favorite scenes in this film. Cusack's performance is amazing. And if you listen to that film, he lays out in very understandable terms why that young-year-old Patty, that 7-year-old Patty, is in that coffin.
It's very emotional. I think that some of the best scenes for me, where I felt the most emotion, were with Jennifer Hudson, who has a gift for making you feel her emotion, doesn't she?
Well, she has emotion. She also has the history. 3 of her family members were murdered in Chicago, including her mother.
So she wanted to play that part.
But at first, I was hesitant to offer the part because of that. But I'm glad that.
How did you approach her?
Well, I go back to Wizard of Oz very carefully. I had to be respectful. I know what happened. So, but thank God she says, Spike, come on. She says, Spike, come on. I deal with this every day, so let's do this.
So Amazon came in saying to you, once the reading happened and the
Once the
rhyming, once the reading happened,
2 readings.
the 2 readings, and so they went for the rhyming. Was that the only thing they questioned, or did
Yeah,
they?
they wanted to hear the.
Yeah.
They wanted to hear the words spoken.
And then they went for it, and they said fine.
Yes, after the second reading.
And after you shot the movie and showed it to them, did they have notes for you at that point?
Oh, is that? Who's not?
I
Who's
know.
not gonna have notes?
I
But it
know.
had nothing to do with the. I mean, they were 100% fine with actors speaking the verse. I mean, there was no notes about the verse.
Okay, so the other thing that fascinates me is the sort of sexual politics of this, because on the one hand, you have these women who are absolutely closing down, their access, as you say so eloquently, as Lysistrata did, but they're also waving their booty around. They're also really owning their sexuality in an interesting way.
If you want to have a sex strike, if you're not looking sexy, that defeats the purpose. And why can't strong, intelligent women be sexy?
They can.
There you go.
But
what's the but?
There's a scene where you've got them all lined up in a gym or in the armory, with their chastity belts waving. There's some places.
That's not the first. They had the chastity belts on before that. She says, lock it up. Let's have a chastity belt. Put our chastity belts on.
Right. So basically,
Ann, what are you trying to say? Just spill it. I want to know you. Just say it.
There's a lot of objectification. There's a lot.
I totally disagree. But I value your opinion. There's no objectification. If you have to use what you use to get what you want, and if you want men to stop killing each other, you have to show them what they're missing.
Right.